Hello everyone, welcome back to Pikmin 3. In this part we go to the Twilight River, which, if I had to pick a favorite area out of the four main areas in this game, I think I would pick this one as my favorite. Partially because I think it has the most unique aesthetics between all of the location in this game and in Pikmin in general. Also because it's the pink Pikmin area. Also because the boss is really cool. Also because lily pads. Also because rubber ducky.
You're the one?
I guess. I honestly don't remember much Sesame Street growing up. I don't think I watched it all that much. So I don't have,
Even then, it's probably been so long. Even if you did watch it a whole bunch, you probably wouldn't retain those memories anyway.
Yeah, I had younger brothers, but they also never really were Sesame Street people. They watched really boring kids shows like Max and Ruby and Franklin and Little Bear, which makes me wanna...
Ugh, Little Bear's one of the worst ones. Ugh.
Nothing happens in Little Bear.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember Little Bear being one of the more... It was too laid back.
Yeah.
It was way too fucking laid back, even for a children's show.
And the Max and Ruby, that show's awful, too.
I don't
even remember that one.
I don't recall that one.
Was that Nick?
That was Nick Jr., I believe. Yeah, it was... There were two rabbits, and they were named Max and Ruby. And nothing
okay,
happened.
yeah. Then
now it's coming back, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's bad.
I don't remember it, so that's probably indicative of its quality, so...
Yeah. Some things you remember because they're bad, though. Granted, when you're 8 years old and your younger sibling is hogging the TV with their baby shows, everything on there feels terrible, but...
It's... Raising Elliot, to the late 90s, there are some shows that you just was it's not the end of the world if I have to watch this. That kind of thing. Because around that time, I was, 9, 10 years old, 11? Getting into that, I was watching Batman and Power Rangers.
Yeah, there's definitely ones you can put up with better than others.
Yeah, if we have to watch this, we have to watch this. It's fine. It's I'm not insulted by watching this. Because some shows fucking going to sleep. And it's 9 in the morning. I just woke up.
Did your parents let you watch TV before school?
Yeah.
Yeah, while we were eating breakfast.
Okay, well, more what choice did they have? Because I was up around 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I remember Cartoon Network at 6 in the morning with Scooby-Doo and then a rerun of Pokemon at 6:30.
Okay, because my parents always got really upset at me if I ever tried to watch TV before school started, even if I was all ready to go.
And then in high school, my sisters would turn on VH1 every morning, and that's why I have a loathing hatred for Wake Me Up When September Ends. Every goddamn morning they would play that song for 5 months.
I can't imagine waking up and VH1 being the first thing you put on.
Well, it's because they listen to the music videos and all that.
Yeah.
At least it is music, I don't even know what's on.
Music is something I put on as I'm going to school, not before I go to school.
I guess I can understand hearing the same song over and over and being just plain old
5 months every day of Wake Me Up until September ends. It's a good song, but I don't want to hear it anymore.
Actually, speaking of, Billy Joe has begun his yearly slumber.
Can I join him? This year sucks.
Look, if we take a nap during September this year, we wake up, there might not be a country left. I don't know if I can risk that.
He's not wrong.
That might be a better option at this point.
Granted, yes, but, then again, I don't know if I can handle waking up and then suddenly, everybody's dead.
Everything's gone to shit.
Yeah, also, we'd have to record way more commentaries in advance and have them made irrelevant by Nintendo announcing a remaster.
I just dread the September bingo card because August was fire tornadoes. Who had fire tornadoes?
All right, let me put up one. Hurricanes taking election signs and one of them's gonna stab someone through the skull, like a flying election sign.
A Biden sign will fly off of a hurricane and will stab a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the rest of the year. That's it. That's the catalyst.
Yeah. What's some other stuff that could happen?
You know the fucking thing? I know people actively hiss at the very mention of those two names.
Oh, yes.
It's cool.
The
It's
rest of
fine.
the world
It's
doesn't
it.
exist while you're watching YouTube,
No.
John.
I mean, we're happy to supply you with entertainment, but you should probably step out of that echo chamber every once in a while.
I like my echo chamber, though.
I know. I call it echo.
Yeah, you just never stop playing Prime 2.
Oh, yeah, you had to replay that recently for our yearly charity event at Fund the Charity Room, which we raised over $25,000. So thank you to everybody who was able to
26.
watch.
I think I thought it was 26.
We raised over well, that's still over 25,000, John.
Yeah, I know, but it,
Basically, you raise enough money to give away a prize from Old Wheel of Fortune in the 90s.
Look, I could have said we raised over $6, and I'd still be right.
yeah, but 26 is more than 25.
Hey, want to hear something that's funnier than 25?
Let me hear it.
26.
Eh.
Oh, man. But yeah, so you had to replay Echoes. Was it like... How was that experience? Would you rate it?
I just wish it was a little more stable on Dolphin, because I played it on the emulator.
Oh
for
yeah, all that
event.
texture popping.
It was a shader issue, where I love going through a room and it just stops loading, and I have nothing but a square to go off of.
Oh yeah, that was
And-
that was funny. Is when you had the one square of
Yeah.
actual gameplay, and the rest is just black screen.
It was so bizarre. The GameCube loaded games weird, like compared to PS2 and Xbox, which I guess made it, its own beast, and that's fine. It's like, and for the most part, it was pretty stable. I just like the fact that I could plug in my GameCube adapter and use a GameCube controller, because I was like right at home at that point, and I really didn't feel like getting my Wii set up with HDMI set up at all. Just
You could
play
use
the game.
your your Wii Hue,
Wii U.
your Wii Huey.
Your
Wii.
your Nintendo ambulance.
Yes. My Switch Lite.
Yeah, because then you could. I believe you can even just download the Prime Trilogy if you don't even want to find your old
yeah.
Wii games.
No, I mean, it's still there. Yeah. I mean, last resort was going to be just playing it on Prime Trilogy, so I could just use HDMI. But I wanted to play with the game controller. And, Christ, I mean, it's like, again, the game is not bad. It's a fine game. It's just the last part of it.
You might have noticed that I threw those rock Pikmin into the water, and that is because, fuck you, I can. I saved them.
Can they drown?
Yeah, they can drown, but if you save them, then it doesn't really matter.
Besides drowning, what can kill a rock Pikmin?
Being eaten, they're vulnerable to all the elements. They're just sturdier than most of the other Pikmin.
They just can't be crushed, really.
Yeah, they can't be crushed. And don't quote me on this, I believe it takes more time for them to die, unless if they're getting eaten or something. So if you for example, if they're in fire, I think it does take more time for them to burn to death than the other Pikmin. So they are a pretty good combat-focused Pikmin. The thing is that they do a set amount of damage when you throw them at somebody, and then they bounce off. So for small targets, that means they kill stuff faster. But for big targets, they don't latch on and do the damage over time. So it makes them less good at that. So generally speaking, they're good for fighting enemies along the way, but for bosses and mini bosses, reds are still the best choice. Which again, we were talking about this briefly last part, but it's a more interesting dynamic than purple and red Pikmin in Pikmin 2, where purple Pikmin were just better than reds in pretty much every single way, to the point where reds basically were just relegated to
Fire hazards.
To fire hazards, and that's it. Which to me isn't the most interesting kind of design in the world, where it's just oh, this is the yellow Pikmin area, this is the blue Pikmin area. That's part of why I really like how they did the wing Pikmin in this game, because the wing Pikmin let you do water, which normally just is a blue Pikmin only zone, and handle it in interesting ways. Which we'll get to when we get to the... that's more in the next area after we beat the boss of this one. I really just want them to announce Pikmin 4, man, because I've been just thinking about different things they could do with the Pikmin 4 for the past, like, year, and I would really love it if they did stuff like let you explore at night, which they've never let you do before. That would be awesome to me. But, you know, I don't...
How would you do that without a gun?
You could give Olimar a gun.
I don't trust Alamar with a gun.
I also do not trust Olimar with a gun.
Never opens his eyes. How do he knows where he's shooting?
Oh, that's a good point. How do the closed eyes characters know what the hell they're doing when their eyes are always closed?
But now when you say give Olimar a gun, the only thing I can think of is, you know the kind of meme template going around where someone calls an ambulance, he pulls out a gun for you? I imagine Louis is the old guy, and Olimar is the other guy. It's like Louis is like, help, I'm starving to death. Pulls out a gun on Olimar. It's like, yeah, that's Louis, all right.
Yeah, pretty. I haven't heard of that meme format before. I thought you were talking about the one where it's just like, wait, it's planet Earth, and then the guy with the gun being like, always has been. Yeah, I like that meme.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
Yeah. I think. Do I need? We need to find all of the different
bridge pieces
in order to actually save the pink Pikmin. I'm just fucking around and doing.
Well, there's not much you can do until that happens. So.
Yeah, but if you like rush and only do the bridge pieces, you can get it done fairly quickly. I just always am the kind of person who likes to not to do everything I can on the way. That's just the kind of player I am for the most part. So if I can do something on the way, I try to do it. And that, generally speaking, means that I take a lot longer to do stuff. Also, I believe you're supposed to have flying Pikmin for that, or you're supposed to be on the top level over there. But
Yellows, I guess, just reach it just fine.
Yeah, I don't know if you're supposed to be able to do that.
Fuck physics. I was expecting them to topple over with that steep incline. It's like, never mind.
There is some funny things that can happen with the physics engine in this game. Because, it's a pretty generic physics engine. But if you're speedrunning the game, people have to do some weird stuff in order to push characters out of bounds in order to get the speedrun things to work. Like, at one point when you're saving Louis later in the game, you do a glitch so you don't have to build one of the bridges. But there's also an invisible wall. So you have to, like, drop Louis from up high with the pink Pikmin so he bumps past the invisible wall and falls down to a lower area so you can pick him up with other captains. Which, I don't know, I just find that amusing.
Any way to save time for speedrunners, I guess.
Yeah.
You seem lost.
It's weird how much time they spend trying to play the game as little as possible.
Hey, whatever gets them to have a world record, I guess.
Frames, people, frames.
Speaking of frames, I just stood there and waited the last 10 seconds as opposed to ending the day early because I like seeing that countdown go down.
This video is too short. Need longer video.
Eventually, I do start editing entire days together because, this is just one of the things about this kind of game. Sometimes in Pikmin,
it's a lot of time just walking around.
It's walking around or waiting for something to be knocked down. It's interesting in how this works if you're trying to get good at it. The better you get at Pikmin, the more you are just waiting because you've done everything. If you do everything right, you get to a point where you've maximized everything in terms of efficiency, and so you're just waiting for the tasks you've got to finish before you move on to the next one. And that will only really start to happen if you're good enough at the game to have that leeway in order to be able to just wait around. There was a similar thing going on in Dead Rising as well, where that also happens in that game, where if you're good enough at it, you might just end up with a 6 in-game hour amount of time where you don't have to do anything, so you can just, I don't know, run around and take a parasol and whack zombies with it, or whatever. It's strange how similar those two franchises are when everything...
Crossover.
Look, I would play it, although then again, Dead Rising is also a Dead franchise, so... yeah, that's true. But I'm not expecting another one of those anytime soon, especially after 4 was bad it was.
So we just need Frank running around collecting fruit now for a new game on an alien planet.
Sure. Let's go with that.
I'd play
I
it.
picked fruit, you know.
I've covered fruit, you know.
Interesting, Frank.
Alternate universe Frank where he just runs a fruit magazine? Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or no, alternate universe where it's Frank and who's the guy from 2? I never remember his name.
Chuck?
Chuck, yeah. It's Frank and Chuck as Olimar and Louie.
Oh, God. Which
Would
one's
Frank,
which,
would,
though?
I was going to say, that's the question. Which one's which? I imagine Frank would be more Louie than Chuck
Yeah,
would.
I mean, they're both dickbags. So, I don't know.
I mean, so are Olimar and Louie, so.
Yeah. Oh, right. We'll see you for the next part of Pikmin 3.